Hi Aquarius! I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into it, I'd like to set the intention for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. Looks like you're waiting for something. You may be investing in something that you know may take some time to come through for you. I'm looking at the Six of Cups. Moving on from the past. Maybe you feel like for some time you had been kind of stuck thinking about things, or maybe in a more nostalgic place. I'm hearing getting to the root. For some of you, there's the notion that I'm seeing here is about addressing maybe past memories, past experiences that you've had that have put you in a place where you feel helpless, or places where you didn't feel empowered. And this is about kind of going over those situations and understanding how it's affecting you now. Maybe also how that affected your intuition too, when it came to a certain dynamic you had with someone. This could have been someone you were in a close relationship with, had some sort of commitment with. So what I'm getting is that by addressing whatever this is from the past and being able to move forward from it, because you may feel at times like you get stuck in something that had happened, or is this going to happen again? And that fear space, rather than being present, you may recognize that it's holding you back from exploring your future. But there's a sense of grounding that I'm seeing here, and I'm seeing that the more you're doing this emotionally, I'm seeing you be much more connected with your intuition. But there's a sense in truly believing yourself, truly believing in yourself and your power. And the more stable emotionally you're feeling, the bigger of a difference that this is making for you as well. It's also helping you to read energy that you need to see too. You could have recognized as well that in the past there was a relationship that you jumped into maybe too quickly, and how things unfolded because of that, and maybe what it is that you're looking for now. I'm getting this specific reference. You could have been in a connection with someone where it was very much on the lower chakras, like the second chakra specifically I'm getting, which is the sacral chakra. And when we're tied into a relationship like that, it doesn't have like the spiritual qualities that are added to the connection. There's definitely a sense of having like a strong physical reaction to somebody, yet it's almost like there's something missing. So maybe at times you're recognizing too that if you want something, I'm hearing more profound. If you want something more profound, that it's going to need to connect on all levels for you, rather than it just being like, oh, I find this person attractive and they find me attractive. Maybe we're looking for the deeper meaning within that too. And in the past as well, like that, having that physical connection could have been the most important thing to you, and so you could have overlooked other things when it came to a dynamic. And there's a sense of maybe also overlooking some tendencies or behaviors. And even though in the back of your mind you may have recognized that there was like a lack of maturity or a lack of elevation to the connection because maybe it physically felt good or you were in a place where you were looking for it to fill certain spaces. There's a sense of kind of green lighting this situation here, but I'm seeing you be all the wiser after going through this situation with someone, because I'm seeing someone that you for sure really connected with, and maybe you're still also kind of getting over the hump of that too. Maybe you're also addressing two times where, and remember, energies can always be reversed, and this is always reflective because it can also be a part of ourselves that's attracting something outside of ourselves too. There's a sense of wanting to rein things in when it comes to impulsively wanting to jump into things, physically wanting to jump into things. And there's a sense of waiting things out here. And understanding too that when we control that dynamic, we also allow ourselves to be connecting with people more deeply as well. Because sometimes too, when we recognize that we've jumped into a situation and it's just purely physical with someone, sometimes that's the only thing that we end up addressing, or it's the only connection we feel like we have with someone. So this is about getting into a deeper sort of connection as well and allowing things to grow from there. Rather than just connecting in one way, it's being able to connect in a multitude of ways with someone. But you may at times, I'm hearing something about forced intimacy. Sometimes when we jump into situations where we're immediately physical with someone, it can be a way of like rushing into an intimate situation and then you don't actually feel like there's intimacy, although sometimes we feel like if we cheat like physical proximity and get close with someone in that way, that it's going to create intimacy. And then we figure out that we end up feeling lonelier for that. So I'm getting that that is also something that we're working through now. It's like, if I'm not just immediately physical with someone that I feel is attractive and they find me attractive too, then what is there? So there's a sense of wanting to connect more deeply. And even if, like, theoretically you understand this, this is about actually putting that to practice as well. So it's about applying that to your situation. Because you may wonder too that if initially you're not within that state of passion with someone, then what is there? Like, what is beyond that? And like, is that a suitable type of relationship for you? So this is really questioning the type of speed that you're looking for, what you feel comfortable with, what feels like too fast, what feels like too much. Sometimes as well, when we create physical dependencies with people too, there are other things that we're feeling that feel beyond our control, and because it's creating a type of attachment, sometimes things can get out of balance from there. So there's a sense of wanting things to be in balance and wanting things to be in harmony, but also feeling in your head about that too. And maybe because of how situations have gone in the past, I'm hearing how they've overflowed and how they've outlaid. So it kind of feels like the blueprint of what has happened in the past. Like, that may get you caught up in your head sometimes when it comes to figuring out what it is that you want now. Looking at the Hermit popping out, I'm seeing reflecting that we're doing. Yeah. May feel like there's some big things to think about too, especially when it comes to an attitude as well. I'm seeing it just saw 9:44 on the time when I looked up. It's like really wanting to be in that grounded space and knowing that you can actually do that. But this is too about knowing that you can grow beyond the attachments that you have. And attachments are wants, needs, desires, things like that. Being able to move through things without having an agenda. Because the more grounded emotionally you are, the more in touch with your intuition, and the more easily you're able to read whether an energy is right for you. And it's like you can be physically attracted to someone and still recognize that emotionally they're not at the place where you are and that it wouldn't work out. And this is about then, I'm hearing practicing abstinence, but this can just be recognizing that, like, again, physically something can be attractive to you, and that doesn't mean necessarily you want to get into a long-term relationship with someone, or that would even be suitable for the situation. So it's like really about practicing discernment here is what I'm getting. I'm hearing firefighting so strongly. That can be a metaphor. Because if we talk about fire in our chart, we think about like feeling passionate, fiery, wanting to take action, wanting to indulge, I'm also hearing. So this can be about quelling those things, about calming them, about creating space. I'm also hearing synthesizing. I'm seeing too there be a recognition as well of what energies you don't want to be involved in, whether this is something that you do or something that you allow coming into your life. And I'm seeing that there's a big ending that you're going to be going through, and maybe it has to do with a specific way that you interact with someone, or how you have in the past and how you don't want to do that in the future moving forward. And there's a sense here of breaking away from something that you don't find full fulfillment within, and trading that out for something that feels more pure and more divine, something that feels empowering to you, something you feel connected with. But it takes ending these cycles truly. This reminds me too of the saying, out of sight, out of mind. I was listening to something recently, and it was about how even if physically, I've definitely mentioned this in the readings before, even if physically we move away from something, if in our minds we're still within that place, if we're replaying memories and like all in the nostalgia of those things, we're not energetically breaking away from this. So it's like, in order to move away from something, you not only have to have it out of sight, but also out of mind in order for you to truly break the binds of what that is. And this means whenever you feel like you're going into that space, to stop yourself, to be aware of where your mind is drifting to, and to cut that off. And that's how we energetically break ties as well. It's by bringing yourself back into the present anytime you feel like you're drifting out somewhere else. I'm looking at the moon, I'm looking at Gemini, I'm looking at Virgo, I'm hearing Cancer very strongly, I'm looking at Taurus, and I'm looking at Sag. For some of you, there may have been somewhere that you were invited and you're thinking about whether or not you're going to go or not. Like, I'm seeing this be some type of gathering. with a handful of people. If you feel like it's going to hinder your healing process, you may not be taking the invitation. It's like I'm seeing you thinking about turning something down here. For some of you, you feel like you need to be focusing more on your work. And you don't want to be distracted from what that is that you're doing. I'm hearing the word ordinance. I'm seeing that there's something you're letting go of here. But there's a sense of thinking about this. There's a sense of being in the process of not yet doing this. It's like, maybe you feel like it's more difficult to let go of certain things, even though you feel like you want to or that you should. Maybe you're also in the process, too, of getting okay with turning things down as well when they don't resonate with you or you don't want to participate in them. And there's a sense of overcoming certain social standards in order to come to this place where you feel confident, disengaging or turning down invitations, things like that, things you don't want to be a part of. But at times knowing that that is hard and that's also part of the process, too. This is about also, like, really being honest. Like, if you don't want to go somewhere, if you don't want to do something, like, just being able to say no and understanding no as a sentence and that you don't need to elaborate if you don't want to. Because this is about you focusing on what's right for you. So you can maintain the sense of happiness you're working towards and the things that bring you joy. So it's like turning down things unless they bring you joy, or unless you feel a need to participate in them. For some of you, this can be like some sort of involvement that you have with a group of people, and you may recognize that it's something you've kind of grown away from and is falling away, but there's a sense of actively needing to let go of that. But as I said before, I'm seeing it's something that's still being thought about. It's like maybe you're trying to figure out how you would do something, like how you would turn something down. Maybe if you really want to, trying to figure all of that out. Oh, very interesting. For some of you, there could be someone from your past that wants to work with you, and you may not want to work with them. This can be a family member, a friend, or like someone that you know that you're not interested in working with, but there's a sense of like having to turn this person down, and you may be thinking about that. But you don't feel like it's in alignment with like what it is that you do, or you feel like it wouldn't be right for you to do that. Like, I'm getting this for more of the people that are like freelancers, entrepreneurs, things like that. Somebody may want to get involved with something that you're doing and you may not want to work with them. Just a quick side note. Okay, so I'm also seeing this as well. For some of you, there may be an instance where maybe more than one instance where at times you feel like certain things need to happen because of certain situations that have gone down between you and other people, and there may be a sense of like waiting for karma to happen or waiting for justice to happen, and there's a sense of like letting go maybe of like this when it comes to other people's lives and really centering back the focus onto you, because I'm seeing that like there are things that have happened that you feel disappointed by that you're still healing from, but it's like continuing to carry this feels very heavy, and it's something that adds to your stress, and I'm getting that this is something that you're learning to. This is like learning to let go of the negative emotions, the ones that you feel like are holding you down, the ones you feel like are not prosperous or helpful to your growth. This is too like any situation where you feel disappointed, learning to reorient yourself and adjust your expectations to what is actually going on, what's happening in reality. This is also about clearing out old models. And when I say this, I'm saying that when we have expectations about how people should be and how they should act, and this person did that and I wish that they would do that, and if only this person had that I would like them more, or if only this didn't happen then I'd feel like this. This is about getting rid of all of those models that you have and adjusting and adapting them to what's actually going on in reality. And because we are accepting what's going on in reality, there's not anymore that sense of like regret that you hold on to, where it's like, if only it could have been like that, or I wish, whatever. This is about letting all of that go and adjusting all of your models to what's actually going on in reality. How people have acted, how people are, things like that. Because the more we hold on to how we wish people are or were, if only that, the more we feel disappointed because of the expectations we have. So this is all about adjusting that, because it's something that definitely builds onto stress that you're feeling and feeling upset. So it's about recognizing the reality of the situation and adjusting your perspective to that too. So if you find like you're holding on to anything, it's going to tell you still something that you have to work on. Because I'm seeing there definitely be a heaviness of what we've still been holding on to, and I'm seeing that it's for a lack of adjustment at times, and this is telling you where you still need to work on things for sure. Like what needs to be healed, what needs to be addressed, and how this adds on stress both for you and for the other people that are involved in that. This is about accepting people where they are, what they're doing. The easiest way for me to talk about this, like I feel like the way that this translates easiest is like if you have a parent and you feel like they didn't fulfill a certain role that you wish that they had, this is about accepting that we signed on to go through these experiences with these people and to be able to accept them for how they are. And for some of us, that doesn't mean being involved with them, but it means accepting that that is what happened, or that's how the person acted, or that's just where they are. And about also not forcing change on people. This goes too for spirituality as well. Like your spirituality is up to you, and you can be a very conscious being, but as soon as you start pushing an agenda on others, it becomes something outside of what it is that you're meant to be working on. Because you can't force somebody to want to engage in something if they're not at that place where they're ready to grow. You can't force somebody to listen to something and really hear you if they're not ready for that. So this is also about recognizing that. Because even if you can help someone, if they're not in the place and they're not open to that and they're not asking for that, this is about walking away from it and letting it go. And having the strength to really do that. because people are going through their own process, and it's up to them whether they want to ascend or stay where they are, how much they're willing to grow, and we have to be okay with that. Okay, so I'm looking at the sun, I'm looking at Aquarius, and I'm looking at Saturn here. All right, my friends, we are going to leave it here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.